Carpentry looks great on Instagram. Custom trim work, beautiful framing, finished cabinets. What you don't see on Instagram is the reality of what it actually takes to build a career in this trade. Today I'm giving you 5 honest reasons being a carpenter sucks. And then I'm going to tell you why a lot of carpenters wouldn't trade it for anything. Look, I'm an HVAC guy, not a carpenter, but I've been on the job sites for 30 years. I've worked alongside framers, finish carpenters, commercial carpenters, cabinet makers, every branch of this trade. I've seen guys build incredible careers in carpentry, and I've seen guys burn out and walk away before they ever got to that good part. The difference between those two outcomes almost always comes down to one thing: going in with the realistic expectations, knowing what the hard parts look like before you're in the middle of them. So this is the honest version. 5 things about being a carpenter that nobody puts in the brochure. And at the end, why despite all of it, carpentry is still a legitimate path to a great career and a great life. Before we get started, smash that like button and subscribe. All right, let's get into it. Reason number 1 it sucks. The pay ceiling depends entirely on what kind of carpenter you become. Let's start with one that surprises people the most, because most people think of carpentry as one career. It's not. It's a family of careers with dramatically different income ceilings, depending on which branch you go into. And if you end up in the wrong branch, you will work just as hard as your well-paid counterpart and make significantly less money. Here's what I mean. A residential framer on a production home building crew swinging her hammer and setting plates all day is making $38K to $55K in most markets. That is honest work, hard work, but the ceiling is low and the physical toll is high. Compare that to a finish carpenter doing custom trim and millwork in high-end residential, or a commercial carpenter running metal studs and drywall in an institutional construction, or a millwright installing industrial machinery. All of them are carpenters by background. All of them have dramatically different pay scales. The lesson here is not that carpentry pays badly. It's that carpentry rewards specialization. The carpenters who figure that out early, who deliberately pursue the specialty that has the highest ceiling for the work they enjoy, build generally strong careers. The ones who stay in production residential framing for 15 years because they never thought about where they were going, they often end up frustrated. If you're going into carpentry, go in with a destination in mind, not just a starting point. Now, reason number 2. If you've ever dreamed of financial, location, and time freedom, listen up. My brother Shane created Content Growth Engine, and I'm not just saying this because he's family. I'm a student and a member myself. In just 1 month, I had my first $214 day. By month 4, I had a $445 day. And by month 5, I had a $519 day. And it just keeps building from there. It's a simple, proven system for growing your YouTube channel and earning a full-time income in less than 4 hours a week. No marketing background, no tech skills, just results. Link is in the description and pinned in the comments below. Go check it out and start building your freedom today. Reason number 2 it sucks. The seasonal and cyclical nature of the work is real. Here's one that hits hardest if you're in the cold weather market or tied to the residential construction cycle. Carpentry, particularly on the residential construction and exterior work side, is highly sensitive to 2 things: weather and housing market. In northern states, outdoor construction work slows dramatically from November through March. Framing crews work shorter seasons. Deck builders and exterior finish carpenters face real off-season gaps. And even for carpenters who find indoor work through the winter, the pace and the availability of the work often drops with the construction market. The housing market sensitivity is the other side. When the interest rates spike and the new homes construction slows, residential construction carpenters feel it immediately. Projects get canceled. Crews get cut. The guys working full-time, overtime in a hot market suddenly find themselves hunting for hours. Here's the honest reality. The carpenters who navigate this the best are the ones who either move to commercial and institutional work, where the construction cycle is longer and less sensitive to the housing market, or build their own businesses with a diverse enough client base to survive slow periods. The guys who stay dependent on a single residential home builder for all their work are one slow quarter away from a problem. All right, reason number 3. Reason number 3, it sucks. Your body takes a beating. This one is unavoidable, and I want to be direct about it because I think people underestimate it until they are living it. Carpentry is physically demanding in a sustained, cumulative way. Framing means swinging a hammer or running a nail gun all day while carrying lumber, climbing ladders, and working in positions that load your back, shoulders, and knees simultaneously. Finish carpentry means hours on your knees installing flooring, bent over installing base trim, reaching overhead for crown molding. The positions change. The physical load does not. The carpenters at 25 and the carpenters at 48 are doing the same work with very different bodies. The wear is cumulative. Shoulder problems from years of overhead work, knee problems from years of kneeling and crouching, back problems from years of lifting and awkward positions. The carpenters I know who are still doing field work comfortably in their 50s are the ones who were intentional about their bodies from early in their careers. Here's the career management lesson that goes with this. The carpentry career has multiple off-ramp options. This reduces physical load without leaving the trade. Foreman, superintendents, estimator, project manager, cabinet shop owner. The carpenters who see those options and pursue them at the right time in their career extend their working life significantly. The ones who stay on the tools until their body forces them off often do not get to choose when they stop on their own terms. Now this next one. Reason number 4, it sucks. The cash economy has a dark side. Here's one that is specific to the residential and service carpentry world. And it is a conversation that most career advice channels completely avoid. A significant portion of residential carpentry work, decks, finish trim, cabinet installation, custom millwork, is paid in cash. And that cash economy feels great when you are the one receiving it, until it doesn't. Here's the dark side. Cash paid carpenters often work without workers' comp coverage, without proper liability insurance, without documented income that supports a mortgage application or a business loan, without a retirement savings record that reflects what they actually earned. The carpenter who has been making $80K a year in cash for a decade, who has been living well and spending freely, often gets to their mid-40s and discovers they have almost no documented income history, no retirement savings, and no ability to leverage their earnings into anything that builds lasting wealth. This is not about taxes. This is about career architecture. The carpenters who build lasting financial security are the ones who document their income, carry proper insurance, build business credits, and structure their operation in a way that their earnings can be leveraged into something permanent. The cash economy feels like freedom. It's actually a cage if you stay in it too long without a plan. All right, last one. Hey, real quick, if you're watching this and thinking, okay, some of these are generally interesting but still need help figuring out which direction makes sense for me, check out Course Careers. They got an AI career counselor named Coura, and she will literally walk you through it. Coura helps you figure out if HVAC, plumbing, electrical, construction project managing, construction estimating, architectural drafting, or a supply chain coordinator fits your goals, your lifestyles, your personality. Then you can start the free intro course it recommends. No experience, no degree needed, and get a real feel for the day-to-day before you commit to anything. Students have used this to break into high-paying careers in as little as 4 to 12 weeks. Link is in the description and pinned in the comments below. Trust me, knowing which trade fits you before you go all in, that's the smartest move you can make. Reason number 5, it sucks. The craft premium is hard to capture without a business. Here's the one that frustrates the most talented carpenters I know. The difference between average carpentry and exceptional carpentry is enormous. The finished carpenter who can execute a perfect mitered return on a built-in bookcase. The framer who reads a complex roof geometry and cuts it perfectly. The cabinet maker who builds furniture quality custom cabinetry. These are generally skilled craftspeople. and the market pays a significant premium for their work. But here's the problem. That premium almost exclusively flows to the person who owns the business relationship with the client, not to the employee doing the work. The finished carpenter who works for a contractor gets paid their hourly or daily rate regardless of how exceptional their work is. The value of that exceptional work flows to the contractor who sold it and built it, not to the craftsman who executed it. The carpenters who successfully captured the craft premium are almost always the ones who built their own direct client relationships, who market their own work, who price their own jobs, who let their portfolio, their Instagram, their websites, their word of mouth reputation do the selling. That requires business skills that most trade apprenticeships do not teach. And developing those skills while also developing the craft takes time and intentionality. The most financially successful carpenters I know are not the best carpenters in the room. They are the ones who figured out how to sell what they do as well as they did it. The combination, craft plus business, is where the real money in carpentry lives. Hey, a quick break here. If you want to take a free intro course on how to land a job in the trades, click in the link in the description below, pinned in the comments. Why it's still worth it? Okay, you have heard the real version of the hard parts. Now here's the other side. Carpentry is one of the most versatile skill sets in the entire trades world. A trained, experienced carpenter can build houses, build furniture, manage construction projects, run a custom fabrication shop, install industrial machinery as a millwright, supervise a commercial construction crew. The range of directions a carpentry background can take you is broader than almost any other entry-level trade credential. The demand is real, and it is not going away. The United Brotherhood of Carpenters, the UBC apprenticeship, is one of the strongest in the trades world. Commercial carpenters with their journeyman card are earning $60K to $95K with full union benefits in most major markets. And the commercial and institutional construction market, schools, hospitals, government buildings, is not as sensitive to the housing market as residential framing. The work is more consistent and the pay is stronger. The craft ceiling is generally high. For the carpenter who pursues the right specialty and builds the right business relationship, finished carpentry, custom cabinetry, architectural millwork, high-end residential restoration, the income potential is exceptional. A well-positioned custom carpentry business owner in a strong market is clearing $150 to $300K. Not as an employee, as the person who owns the relationship with the client and prices the work accordingly. And here's the thing about carpentry that I think is underappreciated. It is one of the most visual, satisfying trades to be in. The carpenter who finishes a custom build or frames a complicated roof or installs a staircase perfectly, they drive past that building for the rest of their lives and know they built that. That is not nothing. That matters to a lot of people. And the trades that give you that feeling tend to produce people who stay in them. Look, nobody said it was going to be perfect. The pay ceiling varies by specialty. The seasonal swings are real. The physical toll accumulates. The cash economy has a dark side, and the craft premium is hard to capture without owning your own business relationships. All of that is true, and so is the versatility, the demand, the craft ceiling for the right specialist, and the satisfaction of building things that last. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Drop a comment. Are you in the carpentry right now? Or are you considering it? I want to hear your story. I read every single one. Catch you in the next video. Peace out.
If you need to learn the trades, go to Jack of all trades.